afternoon, everybody. My name is Kenneth Perez, and I'm a program coordinator for the West Fresno Family Resource Center's two main programs, but the one related to this program is the Thriving Families. We're located in Fresno, California, kind of Central Valley, and we primarily serve populations, just really a little bit of everybody, anywhere from like Hispanic Latinos to African Americans to Hmong, just to help families to see the value of child rearing practices and kind of helping their change the odds for the community that we serve and just kind of helping them in education, attainment, as well as financial literacy and just all things related to the human experience. What was my experience with the Abriendo Puertas, Opening Doors, a virtual institute? I think it was very good. We would meet about 2 to 3 times per week for about 2 weeks. Each session was about 2 hours long. And since it was virtual, it really helped to accommodate the different time zones and just things that we needed to do. It was essentially kind of a multi-step project. You would unlock these modules kind of like you were in class, and you would do these modules and these homeworks in advance of the class. And then our facilitator, Sylvia Esqueda, she would then make sure that you actually did the work that you needed to do in advance of coming. So she'd ask you the questions and the homeworks that you had to write, little essays or paragraphs or whatever that looked like. And you had to pass these knowledge quizzes in order to get access to the synchronous Zoom. I think the online program was relatively easy to navigate. As long as you remembered your username and password, it was really no issue to get in. And if you ever taken any online course or you just gone to school in general, you have homework and then you have class time and then you have more homework afterwards. And that's pretty much how it would go. I think the trainer, Sylvia Esqueda, did a really fantastic job. She has a lot of vibrant energy, and she was always just making sure that we were there and present and just, interested in the material. And I think that the Institute was really powerful. I think the thing that I'll stick with me is the fact that, we keep talking about these things where we say our child, there's a lot of experiences that children go through and where they learn from, but we are our first teacher, their first teacher, excuse me. But really what it means to me is that we as parents and families and communities have such a powerful practice and a scope of practice that we teach to our children, and just showing and modeling the behaviors and the, educational discipline that we want to see for them. That's how they're going to learn and grow. And so over the course of the sessions, we learned that the APOD program has 10 main core topics that kind of begin at early childhood all the way until about they turn into 0 to 5 is the main core crux of where it is, but really up until 3rd grade. And I think the first session was super powerful in that it helped to teach us a little bit about this thing called the achievement gap, where we learned that children at about 3rd grade, we can start to see that there's a huge deviation between families who are engaged in their educational development, whether that be in math or English, and what happens after. Because then they start becoming a little bit more autonomous in their learning, and that children who have a stronger foundation for their youth end up succeeding longer. They end up graduating from high school, they go to college, they make more median earnings and stuff like that. So it really comes on us as a community and parents to help bridge that gap, especially for our brown and black families, to help achieve and realize the goals that we have. I think what was really cool about the Institute is that it takes a very heavy approach into the experience of Latin families, and even just the name of it itself, Abriendo Puertas, that's a Spanish term for opening doors, right? So every time we came to the sessions, you would see that there was a lot of decorations that spoke to the heritage of our people. In terms of that, how can it help and benefit the community that we serve? I think the APOD program, it really just helps you equip with tangible strategies. So they would give you these, best way I could put it is let's call it an outline of record. So, you have these 10 topics and you can kind of go through and you can read exactly how it is that they had intended. And for our facilitation portion that we practiced, they even gave us a PowerPoint presentation from which we could begin, and they could tell you exactly what it was that they wanted to help, impart to families. One of the things that I think would be really good for, interested parties who might want to be participative in this is that it's all, they have a heavy emphasis in data. So there's a data visualization platform that individuals can access that you would administer to, families at the very beginning so that you can get kind of like a pre-assessment of like what the families are knowing or what's their knowledge scale. And then finally at the conclusion, you give them the same survey, but then it does the data analysis for you from what we were told. I haven't tried it just yet, but I think it's really, really powerful when you're trying to show the efficacy of your programs. I think what was cool about the Institute is that they gave us an explanation that it really came out of this idea that they wanted to create an institute or a learning objectives that's founded in like empirical data. So working with reputable institutions like Berkeley and LA to like actually assess its efficacy. And I think that was really cool. And I think that's what makes this program different. In and of itself, I think what was kind of cool is that it wasn't just a knowledge type of based institute where they just kind of give us some answers and some questions and then expect you to kind of learn it. The last and most important tangible portion of the institute was they actually had you kind of present the curriculum, right? So they chose the module for us and they said, you know, you're going to do this one and you're going to teach about it. And so they kind of broke us up by time zones because it was across multiple states, and you were expected to, you know, facilitate with your colleagues and really start to think about who is going to do what slide, what are you going to talk about, like what kind of resources are you going to integrate from your community and everything like that. And most importantly, like how are you going to make the material engaging for your clientele? Because you got to put yourself into the, I guess, the footsteps or the shoes of your clients. If the material isn't interesting to them, they probably aren't going to participate and they're not going to be able to get what they want out of it. But the whole end goal is to help families to become active stakeholders in their child's development. And that's really what this is all about. So we got to practice, we got to get tangible feedback from our colleagues as well as the national trainer. And then finally, earn a certificate that we can use to continue to facilitate this in the future. For myself, what I think I'm most excited about implementing is like actually getting access to the dashboard and everything like that, so that way we can get the rest of the materials put together, maybe a 10-week or 10-month session where we do once a month for our families. And then finally just getting to see how does that make a difference for our families. All in all, I'm very thankful to the APOD Institute and to the time and dedication of the staff that served on this who were able to teach us. And I look forward to continuing the mission. Thank you.